Jigen-Ryu is an elite school of swordsmanship dating back to the 16th century and unique to Kagoshima. Started by an undefeated swordsman who is said to have won 46 duels. At the core of Jigen-Ryu is the one-strike strategy, whereby practitioners are trained to incapacitate opponents in just one brutal strike. So important is this technique that unlike other martial arts, practitioners aren't even trained how to lure or defend against an opponent. After all, there's no better defence than chopping your enemy clean in half before they've even had a chance to make fun of your mum. Under the tutelage of Alex and Master Arimura Sensei, I've got just one morning to learn the key techniques.
So try and cut along the line of his jacket. That's it. So concentrate on throwing it forwards instead of cutting diagonally. So from here. When you finish cutting, it should be over 2 fist widths away from you. So if someone joins Jigen-Ryu, they'd have to do this kind of basic practice for about 6 months before they move on to the next stage.
How many months will I be doing
6
this?
months, half a year.
6 months of this, affecting this.
Yeah. Good Lord. So your body does a lot of things you don't really notice until you kind of focus and try and iron out those bad habits.
All the little things I've got to try and take into consideration: your posture, your hands, where your hands are, the angle of the blade. So all those things at 10 o'clock in the morning.
To become amongst the most formidable swordsmen in all of Japan, historically a master of Jigen-Ryu would practice daily by striking a wooden post not once, not twice, but 11,000 times a day, 3,000 times in the morning and 8,000 at night. Pretty good stress relief. And yet for me, the hardest thing was plucking up the courage to carry out the unnerving scream that accompanies the attack.
Shout! I'm more worried about doing the air in the because I know I'm going to go. Ah!
So in Jigen-Ryu they say, never doubt the first strike, the second strike will lose. So you put everything behind the first cut.
壁をぶち破るほど。
So the reason we walk like this in Suriashi is because if there are any obstacles on the floor, like rocks or glass or something like that, you can kind of feel them out before you step on them. Also, to kind of keep your movement from going up and down like this, it's better to have like a balance while you're walking so that you can strike at any time. So they're the kind of main reasons for doing Suriashi.
My legs have been finished off from cycling, and now my arms are screwed as well as my hands. How many of these are you supposed to do in a day?
Well, they used to do 3,000 in the morning and then 8,000 in the afternoon or the evening.
3,000 in the morning and 8,000 in the evening. 11,000 times.
11,000.
And I've struggled to do 11 times. Like, Christ.
自分の足跡を消していく。
So after practice, just sweep the floor, cover your tracks, and even that requires a little bit of concentration. My favourite thing was the foot movement, like the reasoning behind the foot movement for feeling out the ground before you, feeling for glass or anything that could injure you, where you sort of glide across the ground. As you do this, you can see why it takes so many years to perfect and become perfect at. Something I can't really do in one morning.